Chapter number 4, The Old Clock Shop. So, as the name suggests, this is a wonderful story about an old clock shop where the person used to sell old clocks. So, this lesson expresses how honest and correct ways can win over any situation. And with these ways, even robbers can be tackled rightly. So, the main character of this story is Mr. Ray. And in this story, the way Mr. Ray not only protected himself but showed the right path to the robbers as well. So, it conveys the message of peace and good for all. Now, let's start. It's Christmas Eve and closing time for shops. Ray's old clock shop is still open. Two shoppers call at this late hour. So it was Christmas Eve. So what is Christmas Eve? It means it is the evening before the Christmas day, or you can say it was 24th of December. As last minute shoppers were going home, a thick white sheet of snow lay over Salt Lake City, USA. Yet the lights were still burning in the old clock shop. As Ray, its old deaf owner, worked on a clock he had sold that day. So it was Christmas evening and it was the time to close shops at Salt Lake City in the USA. So Salt Lake City is the most popular city of USA. But lights in Ray's shop. So the owner of the shop was Ray, and the lights were still on because he was repairing a clock that he had sold. So it means he had sold one of the old clocks and he was repairing it because he had to give it to the customer. So Ray, the owner of the shop, was old and deaf. So now we can understand that the owner of the shop, whose name was Ray, was an old person and was deaf. Having finished his work, Ray stood up and was on his way to the back room when a cold rush of air from the front door hit the back of his neck. So, after finishing his work, when Ray got up, a cold wave of air or the cold pocket of air touched his neck from the front door. As we all know that Christmas Eve is on 24th December, so that is a winter's time. And if we'll talk about US, it is a time when there is snow everywhere or the snowfall is there, and in particularly US the winters are harsh. So he turned to meet a last minute shopper, but his old wise eyes told him that this was not a shopper. He saw two men, one in his 20s, the other closer to 50. The younger man remained at the door. The older man approached the counter with no sign of friendliness in his eyes. Ray was able to hide his growing fear as he slowly pushed a notepad and a pencil across the counter. So he turned to see the shopper who came to his shop at the last minute. But as a wise and experienced person, Ray noticed that they were not shoppers. He saw two men. One was young and the other was middle-aged. The younger man stopped at the door and the middle-aged man came to the counter. His eyes were reflecting the cruelty of his heart. But somehow Ray wisely hid his fear and slowly pushed a notepad and a pencil towards them because he was deaf. So instead of saying something or pretending something else, immediately he pushed a notepad and a pencil so that the person who had come to his shop could write it on, and he should understand what was their demand, or what was the reason of them coming to his shop. So now you will practice loud reading and underline the difficult words which I discussed, and write the meanings also.